There's a story which I heard from Reb Mendel Merazov, Rabbi Yochanan's grandfather. Heard from him several times. I doubt it's a true story, it's probably a mashal, but it brings out the point that there was in a city in Russia, I wouldn't even say a city, a little village somewhere, Farvarfen, and somewhere in the middle of Russia. So there was a couple, illiterate peasants, farmers, barely made a living. And they had a child, they had a son. And this son, as he grew up, it became apparent and obvious that he was absolutely brilliant. He was a genius. And it quickly became apparent also that all the teachers in the town, this little darf over there, were ill-equipped to be able to educate such a rare talent. So when the boy became 13, 14, they sent him off to Paris or to Vienna, wherever the big city was, where there was all the famous teachers. And the boy went off, and the boy succeeded beyond the wildest dreams. And he became, besides for everything else, he also became very wealthy. Whatever he applied his wisdom to, whatever profession he took upon, he became a very wealthy person. And once in a while, he'd write letters to his parents. 15, 20 years pass. And one day he decides he's going to go and he's going to visit his parents. But he was scared that he'd walk into the house after 15, 20 years, would be the shock of their life. They'd have a heart attack, they'd drop dead. So he came up with a plan how to do it. He figured that his parents wouldn't recognize him after all these years, and he left when he was a young boy, and now he's a grown man. He arrived in the town without telling his parents about it, and he went to some of the neighbors and some of his friends from way back. He said, you should know that I'm in town. I'm going to be going over to my parents' house now, but I'm not going to be divulging who my identity is. But I'm going to be speaking to them and showing off a little. And then tomorrow, I want you, at 12 p.m., I want you all to knock on the door, and we'll have a surprise party, during which time I'll reveal myself, but it won't be such a shock because they'll already have seen me for 12 hours, and they'll see how special I am. Maybe even they'll have some suspicion that I'm their son, and this will be an easy way for me to reacquaint myself to my parents. And so he arranged that all the neighbors and the friends at 12 p.m. the following day, they should come knock on the door and they'll have a party. And after he did that, he knocks on his parents' house, and he introduces himself with a fake name, and he says, I'm this and this person, and I'm just here in town for a day or two. I was wondering if I can stay in your house. I have no problem, I'll pay you whatever you want for your lodgings. And the parents said, sure. Anyways, he comes in, he starts speaking to them, and he starts impressing them. But also, he's flashing off his gold watch, which cost many thousands of rubles. And he happens to leave his wallet on the table, which is another bunch of tens of thousands of rubles on it. He wants to show his parents how successful he was. They should just realize where he came from. He goes to sleep that night. And his parents, they're still up, and they're like, this guy has a lot of money. No one knows he's here. Let's kill him. We'll bury him in the backyard. And we have all the money, we have the watch, the jewelry, this guy's loaded. And they did it, middle of the night, while he's sleeping. Then another thing, they took a knife, boom, 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 buried him, took all the money. The next day, 12 o'clock comes, and suddenly all the neighbors come knocking on the door, and they're like, surprise! What's a surprise? What do you mean? Did anyone stay here last night? Nope, no one stayed here last night. No one stayed here last night. So what do you mean no one stayed here last night? Your son came from Vienna and he told us. The son came, they realized what happened. They realized he had killed their son. He started crying and they started screaming. And basically, it quickly became known what happened, and the parents were arrested. And they were taken to the judge. And before the sentencing, so the judge asked the father if he has anything more to say. The father says, yes, I do. He says, I want you to please sentence me to death and to torture me beforehand. I can't believe that I did it, and I deserve the most severe and worst punishment that there is. And the judge smiled, and he pronounced the sentence that both the father and the mother should go home and live the rest of their life with the knowledge that they killed their son. He said, there is no greater punishment than that. I can give you the easy way out, I can kill you. The biggest punishment for you is the awareness of what you have done. And that was Mendel would say the story to illustrate the idea of, it says schar mitzvah mitzvah and schar avera avera. The ultimate punishment for avera is when the person has an awareness of what the avera is. It's not about something. This person, the ultimate punishment isn't something else. Isn't outside of it. Like had this person been sentenced to jail for 20 years, that'd have been a punishment. It's not the ultimate punishment. The ultimate punishment is the awareness of what he had done. And by the way, the same is true also with schar mitzvah mitzvah. The ultimate reward is the awareness of the connection to Hashem that you've made through a mitzvah.